going to listen once again from Professor Sajid Jamal sir. I have already introduced Professor Sajid Jamal sir, and his name is familiar and his face is familiar to each one of us. So today he'll be talking about Indian knowledge systems, an overview of Indian knowledge system. So with these words, I request once again, I request all the participants to stay muted. And once, if you have any queries, and you may raise your hands, and once it is permitted, you may unmute and speak. And I once again, I welcome Professor Sajid Jamal sir, and I welcome all the participants for this session.
Thank you. Thank you, Director sir, for kind words and for welcoming me. Of course, we have more than 50 people. So, as you have announced, the topic is an overview of Indian knowledge system. So definitely this is a very nowadays very popular topic, and so many workshops and conferences are being organized on it. So since the group is diverse and people from the diverse background are there, so I will try to present my talk as simple as possible. And first I will start with why this IKS is important, or how I mean, what are those aspects of National Education Policy 2020 which are grounded in this, Indian knowledge system. So I will start from this, and definitely then I will come and I will define what is Indian knowledge system, and then I will try to sensitize our participants the contribution of Indian knowledge system in 6 important areas. So philosophy, mathematics, science and technology, applications of science and technology, health, and of course, public governance and administration. At last, I will be talking about the importance and advantages of IKS, relevance of IKS, and role of IKS. Since this is a sensitization program, so definitely the teachers, my friends, my brothers and sisters, they are required that whatever they will learn through this workshop, they will be able to transact to their students, in fact. So all those things I will be discussing. So for doing the needful, first of all, I would like to share my screen. So I'm sharing my screen, my friends. I'm sharing my screen. My friends, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir, it is clear.
Yes, sir.
So topic is an overview of Indian knowledge system. So I have framed some objectives for this particular session of 1.5 hours. So I'll be starting with those objectives. So these 5 objectives are there, and I would like to request any one of you to please read it loudly. So any other participant, please read it loudly. My friend, any one of you, please read it. Yes. My friend, listening to me?
Sir, may I?
Yeah, sure, ma'am. Please.
Objectives of this session: be familiarized with the relevance, role, and importance of IKS.
Yeah.
Be acquainted with the contribution of IKS in the fields of philosophy, mathematics, public administration, and governance and science and technology.
Right.
Become efficient in integrating IKS in the present education system.
Right.
Be sensitized toward various components of holistic health.
Right.
Feel pride in being a part of rich Indian culture and tradition.
Right. I think you are Sadaf, ma'am.
No, I am Ivy Patrashi from
Okay, Patrashi, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. So these are the objectives which I have framed for this particular session. Definitely, I will try to familiarize you people with the relevance, role, and importance of IKS. And it will be around the end of my lecture. So there are 3 separate slides, and I will be presenting those 3 slides around the end of my lecture. Then definitely I will try to acquaint you people with the contribution, as just I said, particularly contribution of IKS in 6 areas. So philosophy, mathematics, health, and of course public administration, and governance and science and technology. So the whole purpose of this workshop is to sensitize you towards various components of NEP, so that you may integrate whatever you learn here, you may integrate in your teaching and learning. So whatever the subject you teach, definitely you will find that contribution of IKS is there in every subject almost. So how you are going to integrate that and how you are going to transmit it to your students. So definitely, I'm sure you will be efficient after this session. I'll try to sensitize you people towards various components of holistic health. And I'm quite sure the moment the session will be over, you will feel pride in being a part of rich Indian culture and tradition. So these are the 5 objectives which I have framed for this particular session. Now, before going ahead and before talking about Indian knowledge system, I would like to utilize 2 slides on national education policy. So how this policy is different from the other policies, and what are those important aspects of National Education Policy 2020 which have the roots in Indian knowledge system. So I'll be devoting 2 slides for this purpose. So first, the vision of NEP 2020. So definitely you people are quite learned, and NEP is not a new document. I think since July 2020, it is much talked of, it is much discussed. It's very much viral on social media as well. Various aspects of it have been comprehensively discussed and elaborated. And since you people are tech savvy and you people are active on social media, so definitely you know so many things about NEP 2020. In my opinion, this National Education Policy 2020 is different from the other policies. I mean, earlier we have National Education Policy in 1986, and before that we had, another policy in 1968. And if you see the history of education in India, there are various important documents. So how this is different from those? It is basically the vision of NEP 2020, which differentiates it from the other policies and other documents related to education. And this policy is there, though you know, but still to rebrush your memories, I have presented this vision of NEP 2020 on the slide, and it is visible to you. So I would like to request any one of you to please read this slide. My friend, any one of you, please read the slide. My friend, listening to me?
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum assalam. Sadaf ma'am?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Please read the slide.
Okay, sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah.
Vision of NEP 2020. The vision of the policy is to instill among the learners a deep-rooted pride in being Indian, not only in thoughts, but also in spirit, intellect, and deeds, as well as to develop knowledge, skills, values, and dispositions that support responsible commitment to human rights, sustainable development, and living and global well-being, thereby reflecting a truly global citizen.
Thank you, Sadaf ma'am. So this is the policy of NEP 2020. Basically, what it wants, that we should feel a deep-rooted pride in being Indian, and that deep-rooted pride not only in thought, but also in intellect, spirit, deed, and in developing knowledge, skills, values, and disposition. So definitely, so that we may have responsible commitment to human rights and sustainable development and global well-being. So this is the vision of NEP 2020. Now I'm coming to that slide through which you will be able to know what are those aspects of NEP 2020 which are grounded in our Indian knowledge system. So these 8 points have been mentioned before you. And again, I would like to request any one of you to please read these 8 points. So any one of you, please read these 8 points. My friends, please,
Sir,
please read. Yeah.
recognizing, identifying, and fostering the unique
Capabilities of each student. My friend, please continue. I think there is some disturbance. Anyone else, please read it.
Sir,
My friend, Yeah, sure.
Sir, I'm done. Yes, sir.
Ji.
Sir,
Please continue.
recognizing, identifying, and fostering the unique capabilities of each student. Then
Right.
B, flexibility.
Right.
Then no hard separation between arts and science, between curricular and extracurricular activities.
Right.
Multidisciplinary and holistic education. Then
Right.
emphasis on conceptual understanding.
Right.
Then developing ethical, human, and constitutional values.
Right.
Then respect for diversity and the local context.
Right.
Then seamless continuum of education from one level to other.
Okay. Okay, my friend. Thank you. Who are you, sir?
Thank you, sir. Dr. Deepak Kumar.
Dr. Deepak. What do you teach, sir?
Sir, statistics, mathematics.
Okay. Very good. Very good.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
So these are the points, in fact, of NEP 2020, which have the ground in Indian knowledge system. So first one, in ancient education system, in fact, the talent, the capabilities of every student was recognized, identified, and fostered. So I think as a teacher, you all will agree with me that even today, every student, I think there is no student in our classroom who is not blessed with some unique talent, unique capabilities. Definitely, every student has that. The problem is that we are unable to identify. So the job of the education is to foster those innate potentials. But the problem is that we are unable to recognize. So first we will recognize and identify those unique capabilities which are there in every student. And then definitely we will foster. So somehow this point, in fact, has root in our ancient, education system, Indian knowledge system. Then comes flexibility. Of course, in NEP 2020, you will find there are so many flexibilities like multiple entry and multiple exit. And then you will find academic bank of credit. And then you will find, credit transfer. And you will find that a person, can study simultaneously architecture as well as music. A person simultaneously can study surgery as well as Sanskrit. I mean, so many flexibilities are there. So somehow, again, this is the point which has the root in our ancient education system. Coming to the third point, no hard separation between arts and science and between curricular and extracurricular activities. So this is the point on which I wanted to take your opinion. So what you have understood through this point number C, no hard separation between arts and science and between curricular and extracurricular activities. So my friends, your opinion, please. My friends. My friends, listening to me?
Yes, sir. Sir, it means earlier
Yes,
we
sir.
are bound to study only arts subject if a person is from arts background, and if a person is from science background, he can study only science subjects. But with this new policy, now they can study mixed subjects. If a person wanted to make a mixture of some subjects from arts and some subjects from science, he can do that.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. So you see, watertight compartmentalization of knowledge was not there in our education system. So you see those teachers, those scholars who used to teach Vedas, they used to teach architecture as well. Those teachers who used to teach music, they used to teach philosophy as well. Those teachers who used to teach surgery, they used to teach Sanskrit as well. I mean, no such watertight compartmentalization of the knowledge as is today. So in our ancient system, knowledge was treated as a unified whole. This is one aspect. I mean, we haven't divided the subjects in arts category and science category and any other category. Another thing, again, we didn't divide the whole thing in curricular and extracurricular activities. I mean, last time when I came before you people and I discussed curriculum design and development, in that I discussed in detail, I mean, what are curricular aspects, what are co-curricular or extracurricular aspects. So extracurricular aspects are equally important for the grooming of the students as are the curricular aspects. So this policy talks about I mean, no watertight compartmentalization of the subject between arts and science, and it doesn't differentiate between curricular and extracurricular activities. So, I mean, again, it has the root in the ancient education system, our Indian knowledge system. Then comes multidisciplinary and holistic education. A holistic education is that which not only take care of only mental development, rather which takes care of other aspect of the development like physical, moral, emotional, social, recreational, spiritual. So that is a holistic education. And multidisciplinary education is that in which we study the problems, we study the topics from the viewpoint of various disciplines. So somehow, I mean, this whole policy talks much about multidisciplinary and holistic education. And I'm quite sure that before my session, there was one full session on this topic, that is multidisciplinary and holistic education. So you people have clearly understood. So this is the point, that is multidisciplinary and holistic education, where you will find that it has root in Indian knowledge system. Then comes emphasis on conceptual understanding. Again, this is the point on which I wanted to take your opinion. What you have understood through this point. Emphasis on conceptual understanding. My friends, your opinion, please. My friends, listening to me? Oh, there are so many people. Pakarshi ma'am, Deepak sir, Sadaf ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Sir, may I answer?
Yeah.
Sir,
Please. Yeah.
I'm asking. Emphasis on conceptual understanding means, sir, I think that many disciplines are based on some certain aspect, certain abstract aspect. Like I teach political science, so there are many concepts which are aspects, so which are abstract. So I think that understanding those aspects are is essential. That is what.
Okay, ma'am. Any other opinion besides ma'am's opinion?
Yes, it means not only memorizing concepts, but also understanding them. And we should learn to apply them in the practical situation.
That's it. That's the right answer, in fact. So simply knowledge for the sake of knowledge, or simply, cramming the thing, or simply memorizing the thing. So it's not the requirement. I mean, we should do beyond that. So we should prepare the students for the real life, and they will be able to apply the knowledge, bookish knowledge, in the real life only when they will understand that concept. So this is the point. And again, if you see Indian knowledge system, ancient education system, that was based on understanding. I mean, cramming and memorizing the things were there, definitely, I don't deny that. But in a larger sense, I mean, somehow it was focused that conceptual understanding will be there. So this is the point again, which has some root in Indian knowledge system. Then point number F, G, and H, developing ethical, human, and constitutional values, respecting for diversity and the local context, and seamless continuum of education from one level to other. These 3 points are there, again, which have some roots in the ancient education system. So with this, I mean, till now, what I have presented before you people, the vision of NEP 2020, and those 8 points which are grounded in Indian knowledge system. Now I'm coming to the third slide, and I'm going to define what is Indian knowledge system. So for the sake of clarity in my presentation and keeping in view the diversity of my participant, in fact, I have decided all the 3 terms separately, which have been shown on the slide. So I would like to request any one of you to please read the slide. My friend, any one of you, please read the slide. My friends, please read the slide.
Okay, sir, I am reading. What is
IKS?
Sure. IKS means Indian Knowledge System. So first word is Indian. Indigenous sources of knowledge generated by the Indian society. Such knowledge synthesized, codified, and made available by the Indians. Second is knowledge, obtained by the insights gained by personal experiences with life situations, facing problems, and coming up with the means of problem solving. System, a structured methodology and a classification scheme to access the available corpus of knowledge, the interconnection between the part of the knowledge in the classification framework.
Thank you, ma'am. So these three terms separately defined, as ma'am has just read. So what is Indian? Indigenous sources of knowledge generated by the Indian society. And the moment I am saying Indian society, it is not of today's India. It is the undivided India, Akhand Bharat. I mean, that is India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, Burma, I mean, all this. So what is Indian? Indigenous source of knowledge generated by the Indian society, and not only generated, rather somehow synthesized, codified, and made available by the Indians. And then what is knowledge? Of course, as you can see the slide, obtained by the insights gained by personal experiences with life situation. So here again, I would like to take your opinion. So there is a proverb which says that life is the best teacher. So do you agree with me on this point? Life is the best teacher?
Yes, sir.
Of
Yes,
course.
sir.
Of course. So various experiences in life, in fact, we face so many problems, we face so many experiences. I mean, some experiences are good, some experiences are bitter, you know. So through that, we learn a lot. So knowledge, you know, our ancestors, they face so many problems and they solve that problem by personal experiences, and by that way, I mean, that is solving the problems through the personal experiences with life situation, they obtained the insights. That insights was gained by definitely their personal experiences with life situation, and that was later on compiled and became the knowledge. So coming to the third system, a structured methodology and a classification scheme. Just now I said that knowledge is a unified whole. I mean, based on the personal experiences and insights, our ancestors came on compiling the knowledge. So knowledge become a unified knowledge, a huge knowledge we had. And for the sake of clarity, we classified that knowledge, that corpus of knowledge, into various classes. And somehow we ensured that there will be some interconnection between various parts and various classes of that knowledge. So that has become system. So in a nutshell, this is the Indian knowledge system. Now I'm coming to the next slide, and I would like to present the contribution of Indian knowledge system, particularly in 6 fields. So can you see these 6 fields? Can you see the slides, my friends?
Yes, sir.
Right. So what are these 6 fields which you can see on this slide?
Philosophy, math, science and
Yeah.
technology, applications of science and technology, health, governance and public administration.
Right. So if you talk about Indian knowledge system, it has immense contribution. It has huge contribution. And I think there is no subject in which you will not find any contribution of IKS. But definitely these are the 6 areas in which huge contribution of IKS there. So I will start with philosophy. So first I will tell you people what are the contributions of Indian knowledge system in the field of philosophy. Then I will come to mathematics. Then I will come to science and technology. Then I will come to applications of science and technology. Then I will come to health. And finally, I will come to governance and public administration. So I am first discussing the contribution of IKS in the field of philosophy. And it has generated Indian philosophical systems. So again, I mean, philosophy is a very wide subject and my participants have diverse background. So in a very crispy way, I mean, whole contribution of Indian knowledge system, I'm going to present in the field of philosophy under 5 points, which are shown on the slide. So I would like to request any one of you to please read the slide. My friend,
Sir,
any one of you, please read the slide. Sure.
There are 2 classes of philosophical system: Vedic school of philosophy, Samkhya, Yoga, Nyaya, Vaishika, Mimamsa and Vedanta.
Vaisheshika, Mimamsa and Vedanta.
And non-Vedic school, Jainism, Buddhism, and Charvak philosophy. The Indian philosophical system provides a true worldview and a vision for life and help us resolve the issues that we face in our life. The teachings of Upanishad suggest that attainment of knowledge is the highest goal of human life. Unlike the Western counterpart, the Indian philosophical thought is closely intertwined with the religious thought. The ultimate goal of human life is closely closely spelled
Spelled
out,
out.
and the path for attaining the same is also articulated in all the darshan.
Darshanas, right. Who are you, ma'am?
ID Pakrashmi.
Yeah, Pakashmi. Thank you. So also, you see, I mean, huge contribution of Indian knowledge system is there in the field of philosophy, and our philosophical system is very old. So here I am following the opinion of a great Indologist, a great scholar of his time, Max Muller. So what Max Muller has said, that Upanishad period is of 1500 BC. So 1500 BC means, if you count from today, so almost 3500 years ago. And Max Muller has said that even Vedic period was much older than the Upanishad period. And if you compare our philosophical system with the Western philosophical system, so you will find that in Western world, philosophy developed as a discipline. In fact, after the work of Thales, a great philosopher Thales, but Thales period is of 500 BC. So our philosophical system is much older in comparison to the Western schools of philosophy. If you see, by and
Sir, you are not audible.
my friend, are you listening to me?
Yes, sir. Yes, Now sir. you are audible.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I'm extremely sorry. Yes.
अरे भाभी जी,
Hema
हमसे
ma'am,
आज एक गलती
please
हो
mute.
गई। हम आपसे कहना
Hema
बिल्कुल
ma'am,
भूल गए और आज हमारा
Hema
बिल्कुल
ma'am,
इतना
please mute
शेड्यूल
yourself.
था कि हम बिल्कुल कह नहीं पाए आपसे, सच में। हम नीतू से हमने इसलिए नहीं कहा, नहीं भाभी कहेंगे हेमा नहीं कह सकती थी मुझसे, इसलिए हमने
Hema
कहा
ma'am,
तो प्रसाद भिजवा दूंगी आपको, ठीक? हाँ, नहीं बंधु नहीं सही कह रही। हाँ,
Hema ma'am, please mute yourself. Hema Shukla ma'am,
ये सारी भाभी
Hema ma'am,
बहुत दिन से फिर वो नीले का हुआ ना। हाँ, नीला कलर पसंद था।
Hema ma'am,
ब्लू कलर ही ज्यादा पसंद था। मैंने इसी में पोशाक भी नहीं, पर पोशाक मैंने नहीं राधा रानी के लिए लगी लाल पीली वैसे ही, तो वो हमसे वो नहीं ब्लू कलर पसंद है।
सर यूजीसी एचआरडीसी वालों को बोल दीजिए, वो म्यूट कर देंगे।
हमको ये कलर खरीदते
yes. आप slide देख पा रहे हैं? Now you can see slides, my friend.
यस सर।
Yes. So I was discussing about Indian philosophical systems, and I told that our philosophical system is quite old. in comparison to the Western philosophical system. And we by and large in India had 9 orthodox schools of philosophy. So 6 philosophies come under Vedic school of philosophy. I mean, those philosophies which believe in Vedas, they are known as Vedic school of philosophy, and these are 6: Sankhya, Yoga, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Mimamsa, and Vedanta. Whereas there are 3 schools of philosophy which don't believe in Vedas, and they are known as non-Vedic schools: so Jainism, Buddhism, and Charvak philosophy. So Vedanta, even there is one philosophy, idealism, Western philosophy. So if you go through idealism and you will study Vedanta, you will find much resemblance in these 2 philosophies. But Vedanta is much older in comparison to idealism, because idealism was given by Socrates and Plato around 350 BC. But Vedanta is much older than that. Similarly, there is one philosophy, Jainism, and there is one Western philosophy, realism. So if you will compare these 2 philosophies, you will find that there is a lot of resemblance between Jainism and realism. But realism was given by the student of Plato, that is Aristotle, in 327 BC, and Jainism is much older. Similarly, another philosophy, Western philosophy that has become very popular, philosophy of humanism. So it came into existence in 1500 AD, and it very much resembles with Buddhism. But Buddhism is quite old, it is around 500 BC. Similarly, another philosophy, Charvak philosophy, it very much resembles with the Western school of philosophy, that is naturalism. So naturalism is almost, 1600, 1700 AD. But Charvak philosophy is much older. It was given by a great saint, Rishi Brihaspati, and Charvak is much older in comparison to naturalism. So in a nutshell, what I want to say, in fact, our philosophical system is oldest, I think, in the world. Then if you see another peculiarity, this philosophical system, in fact, provides us a true worldview and a vision for life. And it helps us resolve the issues that we face in our life. If you come to the third point, the teaching of Upanishads suggests that attainment of knowledge is the highest goal of human life. And the peculiarity, if you see, Western philosophies, in fact, they separated religion from the philosophy. But so far as our Indian philosophical system is concerned, for us, religion and philosophy, they both are closely intertwined. Finally, the ultimate goal of human life has been clearly spelled out in every philosophy, in every Indian darshan, and of course, the path for attaining the same is also articulated. So in a nutshell, this was the contribution of Indian knowledge system in the field of philosophy. Now I'm coming to another area, which area is very important, of course, where immense contribution of IKS you will find. Unfortunately, we have Deepak sir with us. So I'd like to request Deepak sir to read these slides. Deepak sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Padhiye, please.
Sir, number system, concept of zero and decimal system, measurements for time, distance, and weight, geometry, property of right angle triangle, concept of circle and pi, arithmetic, square root, series, and progressions, trigonometry, Jaya and Koze, algebra, Aryabhat wrote Ganita Pada, binary system, Laghu and Guru, astronomy, concept of stars, planets, celestial bodies, solar and lunar ellipse, Tithi, Nakhetra, and Panchanga, the Indian calendar system.
Thank you, Deepak sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
So, particularly, I have instructed you because you are from mathematics. So,
yes, sir, no problem. Yes, sir, no problem.
Yeah. So, mathematics is such an area in which you will find huge contribution of Indian knowledge system. But for the sake of clarity, I have just identified these 8 areas, which are just read by Deepak sir. So, first contribution, number system. So, the moment I say we have contributed a lot in mathematics, it never means other civilization or other people of the world, they didn't contribute to mathematics. Particularly, Chinese, Mesopotamians, Arabs, and Greeks and Romans, they were also good in mathematics. It's never like that only we were good. But what's our uniqueness, in fact, that we gave them the concept of zero as well as decimal system. Then another peculiarity of Indian knowledge system was that we invented units to measure time, distance, and weight. And I mean, whether time is small or larger, distance is small or larger, and weight is similarly small or larger. Somehow we invented unit to measure this. Then comes geometry. I mean, again, such an area in which immense contribution of Indian knowledge system, particularly properties of right angle triangle, and it was studied by Indian mathematician, and concept of circle and pi. In fact, it was given by Indian mathematician. So at this juncture of time, I would like to know from you people, what is pi, by the way? You have heard about it, my friends?
3.14, sir.
3.14 or 22/7. But what is it? What is it, my friend? How it comes? Deepak sir?
That I don't know, sir. I am a chemist. I should know, but now I think physicists know better than chemists.
see, my friend. In fact, if you divide the diameter of any circle by its, you will divide the circumference of any circle by its diameter. Any circle, I mean, whether it is a small circle or big circle, you divide circumference by the diameter, you will get a fixed ratio, and that ratio is pi, that is 3.14 or 22/7. So it was invented by our mathematician. Similarly, arithmetic is such an area, particularly square roots, series, and progressions are studied by our mathematicians. And then trigonometry, particularly, nowadays in trigonometry we use sine and cos, isn't it, my friends? Sine and cos use karte hain na hum trigonometry mein, my friend?
Yes, sir.
So in India it was used as ja and koja. So ja was sine and koja was cosine. And why our people were particularly good in trigonometry? Because our people were very good in astronomy. And if you minutely see astronomy, astronomy includes much application of the trigonometry. So since our people were very good in astronomy, and astronomy was a very important subject of study in Indian knowledge system, so definitely our people were very good in trigonometry as well. Then comes algebra. So originally, invented in Arabia, its name, it was invented in Arabia. And Arabian mathematicians, they contributed a lot, but our contribution is also immense in the field of algebra. Particularly, Aryabhatta, his famous book Ganit Pada. So in this book, Aryabhatta has discussed so many corollaries and so many, theorems and so many formulas which are very useful. Then comes binary system, Laghu and Guru. If you talk about today's binary system, so we use two numbers, 1 and 0. So everything is represented in terms of 1 and 0. Particularly computer language is totally based on binary system. So we also had that type of system. So Laghu was the smaller number and Guru was the bigger number. Then finally astronomy. Our people, they gave the concept of stars, planets, celestial bodies, solar and lunar eclipse, Tithi, Nakshatra, and Panchanga. So what is Panchanga, by the way? Have you seen, my friends? My friends?
Calendar, sir, calendar.
Calendar. So do you find any difference between normal calendar and Panchanga, my friends? My friends? In normal calendar, even one calendar is before my eyes, so I can see days are mentioned, dates are mentioned, holidays are mentioned. So this is normal calendar. But Panchanga is quite comprehensive. I mean, it talks about solar eclipse, lunar eclipse. It talks about Tithi, Nakshatra. I mean, that is very comprehensive. Panchanga is a calendar, but it is a very comprehensive calendar, and it is Indian calendar. So in a nutshell, these are the 8 areas through which we can understand the contribution of Indian knowledge system in the area of mathematics. Now, I want to come to the third area, where again you will find immense contribution of Indian knowledge system. And for the sake of clarity in my presentation, I have identified 8 areas under science and technology through which you can understand the contribution of IKS. So these 8 areas are mentioned on the slide, and I would like to request any one of you to please read the slide. My friends?
Mining or extraction. Number 2, production of zinc. Number 3, metals and metal working. Number 4, smelting of iron.
Right.
Then manufacture of steel.
Right.
Mercury.
Yeah.
lead and
Lead.
silver,
Yeah.
and
Lost wax
lost
casting.
G.
Yeah. Thank you, my friend. So you know, mining and ore extraction was such an area, I mean, in which our people have much expertise. You know, particularly gold extraction. Gold was very important in our society, and the moment I say that gold was important in our society, then I don't say it's only for women. You know, even for men also gold was very important. And you know, the kings and the ministers and, you know, the noble people, they all used to wear the gold. Gold was very important in our culture, in our society, and our people knew how to extract the gold, and similarly other metals also. Then comes production of zinc. There is one technique that is known as downward drift reduction distillation process, and this process is used throughout the world even today to produce the zinc. And our people definitely knew about this. I mean, that is, they knew about downward drift reduction distillation process. Definitely machines would have been different, technology would have been different, but somehow they use this process to produce the zinc. Then comes metals and metalworking. Our people had particular mastery over, you know, iron, steel, zinc, copper, and their alloys. So at this juncture of time, I would like to know from you people, what are alloys, by the way, my friends? What are alloys?
Two or more metals
Two
when
or
mixed.
more metal.
Yeah. Two or more metals are mixed in some particular ratio, so that whatever we are producing, that might be very strong, that might have strength, and that might be lighter as well in the weight. So you people, I'm quite sure, would have heard about alloy wheel in the cars. You have heard, my friends?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
yes.
what's the peculiarity of alloy wheels? Alloy wheels are very strong and they are lighter as well. So, you know, I mean, if you will mix iron in some ratio with zinc, or iron and copper, and, you know, iron and nickel, I mean, in some particular ratio, that will become an alloy. So, you know, Indian scientists, basically, they knew how to, make alloys. Then comes smelting of iron, and the classical example is the Delhi iron pillar, which is there before you. You can see it, you can observe it. Then comes manufacture of steel, another contribution of Indian scientists, and particularly there was one steel that was known as Wood's steel. So have you heard about it, my friends? Wood's steel?
No, sir.
No problem. So, you know, in every steel we have carbon component. Peculiarity of Wood's steel is that in this steel, carbon component is relatively more in comparison to other type of steel. So it becomes very strong. And particularly this steel, Wood's steel, is used in making the weapons. And, you know, later on, particularly in the medieval period, there was one blade which became very famous throughout the world, and that blade is known as Damascus blade. Damascus, that is the capital of Syria. So somehow it is claimed by the historians that this knowledge, Wood's steel knowledge, it went to Syria by India, and Syrian people learned how to make Damascus blade. And Damascus blade was basically based on the technology of Wood's steel, and it became very popular throughout the world, particularly in making swords and other, you know, weapons. So this is one contribution of Indian science. Then comes mercury. So before I am proceeding, there is one peculiarity of mercury. So can you identify, my friends, what is that peculiarity of mercury?
Liquid in normal temperature pressure.
Okay. Any other, my friend?
Very high specific gravity.
Yeah. So in simpler term, I mean, my friend has talked about technical things, so I'm just putting the things in simple way. First peculiarity of mercury is that it's the only metal which is found in liquid state. Isn't it, my friends? My friend?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Second peculiarity is that its density is very high. Its density is very high. So it is very heavy. I mean, if you have taken 1 liter of water and if you have taken 1 liter of mercury, you will find that 1 liter of mercury is almost 13.6 times heavier in comparison to 1 liter of water. So it is quite bulky, quite heavy. These are the two peculiarities of mercury. And in Sanskrit, it was known as para. And there was great scientist Charaka, and Charaka has written a book, Charaka Samhita. And in Charaka Samhita, in fact, he has defined and in fact discussed how to, various peculiarities of mercury, how to produce mercury, and how to use mercury, particularly in the amalgamation process for the extraction of silver and gold. And then two more areas, lead and silver, our people had the knowledge about it. And if you will go through Kautilya's Arthashastra, so it talks silver coins of definite weight. So it shows that our people, besides having the knowledge of other metals, I mean, they had the knowledge of lead and silver as well. And finally, last wax costing of idols and interference. Now I'm coming to the fourth area, and this area in which I'm talking about contribution of IKS. This area is applications of science and technology. So I have identified 7 applications of science and technology in which you will find the immense contribution of Indian knowledge system. So it is before you. So I would like to request any one of you to please read the slide. My friend, please read the slide.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Application of science and technology. Architecture, Vastu Shastra, and town planning. Unitary buildings, residential buildings, and royal palaces. Now, irrigation and water management. And the third application, dyes and painting technology. And the fourth is the art of making perfumes.
Right.
And fifth is surgical techniques.
Right.
And sixth is shipbuilding.
Right.
And the last one is 64 art forms, kalas.
Kalas. Thank you. Thank you, my friend. So before I proceed, I would like to know from you people, what is Vastu Shastra? I'm quite sure you people know about Vastu. So what is this, my friends?
Sir, it is a science of constructing building.
Constructing building. Will you please elaborate more?
So it's about the right positioning, sir. It's about right position.
That's that's it. So where should be the bedroom? Where should be the kitchen? I mean, how we can locate the building so that we may get more and more sunlight, we may get more and more ventilation, we may get more and more, in the summers it might be cooler, in the winters it might be hot, something like that. So this is known as Vastu Shastra. And before further proceeding to other points, again, one thing I would like to share, I'm quite sure you people know it, and just I'm refreshing your memories. So in most of the metros nowadays, what medical people, what the doctors are claiming, that people living in most of the metros, so most of the people suffer from vitamin D deficiency. So have you heard about it, my friends?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And can you locate the reason for this? Why people living in metros particularly, they are having vitamin D deficiency?
So less exposure to sunlight.
Yeah, that's it. So sunlight is one of the most important natural sources of getting vitamin D. Unfortunately, people living in apartment, very small apartment, and hardly, one building adjacent to another, one high-rise building, and then adjacent to it we have another high-rise building. So hardly they get the exposure to sunlight at the home. And similarly, we have very less parks and other things. So, their exposure to sunlight is very less. That's why, it is claimed that they are suffering from vitamin D deficiency. So, Vastu Shastra basically is that, how the building should be located, how we can get maximum air and sunlight, all those things. So if you see one application of science and technology in which immense contribution of Indian knowledge system is there, then that area is architecture. So if you see old people, when they plan town planning, so by and large there were 3 types of building: unitary buildings, particularly used for single purpose; residential buildings where people used to live; and third type of building were royal palaces, particularly made for the royal people. So whatever the building are, and whenever they plan the town, somehow they used Vastu Shastra. Then comes irrigation and water management. So water was very important for those people. Definitely it's very important for us as well. But nowadays we have very advanced technology. We can extract water from the ground, very easily. But those people, they didn't have that technology. So they have to rely mainly on the rainwater. So somehow certain kind of rainwater harvesting system was there. Definitely the technology and the machines would have been different, but you know, they had various ponds. So one pond was particularly reserved for the animals, another pond was particularly reserved to take the bath, another pond was particularly reserved for washing the clothes, and the pond was reserved for drinking water. I mean, something like that. They ensured that if somehow, I mean, it is not raining, then they can utilize the water, particularly in the summers. So they had a very good system of irrigation as well as water management. I mean, some of the things, I mean, these ancient things, you know, it is still relevant today as well. Then comes the dyeing and painting technology. Our people had the knowledge of that. They had the knowledge of making perfumes, and then surgical techniques, and particularly one scientist, one surgeon, great surgeon of his time, Sushruta. Yeah. So have you heard about his name, my friends?
Yes, sir.
Yes. And what's the contribution of Sushruta? Particularly, Sushruta invented
surgery.
Surgery.
Yeah, surgery. And the particular contribution in surgery of Sushruta is that he invented surgical tools. And I mean, it claimed, some people say these are the 20 tools, some people claim these are 18, even some people claim that is 16. But whatever the tools Sushruta invented, in fact, he first observed the beak of the birds. So, you know, a crow's beak is different from a sparrow's beak. A sparrow's beak is different from a eagle's beak. And similarly, an eagle's beak is different from falcon's beak, something like that. So he observed those birds, and by observing those beaks of those birds, he invented the surgical tools. This is one contribution. Another contribution of Sushruta particularly is this. Sushruta used to give anesthesia at that time. Definitely that anesthesia would not have been chemical based. That anesthesia was based on, you know, herbs and medicinal plants. But he used to give anesthesia and he used to perform surgery. So there's another contribution, particularly of Indian scientists, Indian surgeons in the field of surgery. Then our people were well versed with shipbuilding. And then there was one, you know, great scholar, Van Bhatta. Van Bhatta talked about 64 kalas, 64 art forms. If you go through the National Education Policy 2020 document, you will find the reference of Van Bhatta. So these 64 kalas, in fact, so our people had the knowledge of this. So this is the area, I mean, particularly in which I have presented before you people, the contribution of IKS. Now, I'm coming to the fifth area. And this is the area again where you will find the immense contribution of Indian knowledge system. And this area is health. So I have identified 7 areas. It's before you people. So I'm quite sure you can see the slide. So I'd like to request any one of you to please read the slide. My friends, please read the slide.
Health, Ayurveda, a way of complete health, yoga for holistic health and wellness, emotional and spiritual intelligence, disease management, diagnostic techniques and surgery, drugs and physical therapy, sleep and food, impact on health, the body, mind, intellect, consciousness complex, the Panchakosha, a 5-layered existence, Annamaya Kosh, okay, Pranamaya Kosha, Monomaya Kosha,
Vijnanamaya
Kosha, and Anandamaya Kosha.
Thank you. So, you see, I mean, before I proceed and I discuss all those points which ma'am has just read, let me clarify one thing, that our concept of health was not the concept of physical health. I mean, physical health is a very narrow aspect of the health. We have emotional health, we have spiritual health. So a holistic health is that which ensures physical, mental, moral, emotional, and spiritual health. And for this, we have 2 great contributions to the world. One contribution is Ayurveda, and another contribution is yoga. Now here, I mean, another point that I want to present before you people, since you all, I think, quite learned people. So nowadays psychologists have defined emotional and spiritual intelligence. So have you heard about this, my friends?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. So what is emotional intelligence, by the way?
Emotional intelligence means when you are communicating with somebody, you need to understand the emotion of the person with whom you are speaking with, and accordingly you need to behave.
Right. So
You
managing
need
the
to adjust your
emotions.
emotion.
Right. Managing the emotions, managing the relationship. I mean, dealing with various people. Interpersonal
managing one's own emotions and understanding the other's emotions
That's
also,
it.
so
That's it.
that interaction will be better.
Very good, my friend. Very good. Thank you. So knowing your emotions, knowing other emotions, accordingly behaving. I mean, if we know about our emotions, if we know the person who is in front of us, I think there will be no conflict, there will be no problem. But most of the time, we know our emotions, but we don't know what other people have. I mean, so that's why the conflict is there. So emotional intelligence. And by the way, what is spiritual intelligence, my friends? My friends, what is spiritual intelligence? Okay. It's related to the
This
existence.
definition can vary from book to book, from author to author, from person to person, because every person, how many persons are in this world? So much world is out there. So everybody can think himself what is actually the spirituality.
Yes.
Because if we go towards the religion, then we can vary. Then we can vary the definition. So it's a debatable issue, sir.
Sure.
Define spiritual intelligence. In
Definitely.
one religion, we can consider as monotheism. Then we can consider single God as the spirituality and ultimate power as the spirituality. And when we merge with that ultimate power, then that is spirituality in Sufism. And it is a debatable issue, sir. You can explain better, sir.
Sure. By and large, I mean, what is spiritual intelligence? Knowing about your existence, in fact, why you have been born, why you have come to this world, how values might be inculcated among us, how we can deal with the problems of existence and value crisis. I mean, something like that. Though, as my friend has said, definitely it's a very wide area, very comprehensive area. It's quite debatable as well. But somehow what psychologists nowadays are saying that these two intelligences are very important: emotional intelligence and spiritual intelligence. And another peculiarity of these two intelligences is that, if you talk simply about IQ, it's very difficult to improve IQ. I mean, through medication or through some other treatment, I mean, it's very difficult to improve IQ. But you can improve emotional and spiritual intelligence. And I think before few months, I have received one PhD thesis from a very good university. And in that, in fact, the researcher has studied yoga, the impact of yoga on emotional and spiritual intelligence. And he has claimed that through yoga, emotional and spiritual intelligence can be improved. So if you see yoga, I mean, the moment we talk about yoga, so we say it is pranayama. No, pranayama is very narrow aspect of yoga. I mean, just doing exercise and all those things, a very narrow aspect of yoga. It's not the complete yoga. So yoga is about thinking yourself from where you have come, what the purpose, for what purpose you have been born. I mean, what you are contributing to the society, how you can be a productive member. I mean, all those things, such type of things. So this one thing, I mean, what I wanted to say that in the field of holistic health, we had two contributions to the world. One, yoga, which ensures holistic health and wellness by talking about emotional and spiritual health, and Ayurveda, which is a way of complete health. Now, besides these two contributions, our scientists have worked particularly in the field of diagnostic techniques and surgery that I have just discussed. They knew about drugs and physical therapy, and then sleep and food. And further, if I proceed, before that, I wanted to know from you people. I'm asking one question. You please listen to this question and answer me. My question is this: how much do you eat? When do you eat? How do you eat? Where do you eat? And how much do you sleep? When do you sleep? And how do you sleep? Do you think these matter to your health? My friends, your answer, please. My friends, got my
Yes,
question?
sir. It is matter to our health.
It matters. It matters. How much do you eat? When do you eat? How do you eat? As and similarly sleep, so it has impact on health. So in Ayurveda, I mean, all those things are have been discussed. I mean, before going to sleep, before going to bed, at least 1 hour or 1.5 hours, you should have the food. When you don't feel hungry, don't eat. I mean, there's so many things. And if you sleep, how you sleep, I mean, which side your body should be there, I mean, all those things are discussed. So somehow they have the impact on your health. Then we had defined, I mean, body, mind, intellect, consciousness complex, and our people defined 5-layered existence, that is Annamaya Kosha, Pranmaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vigyanmaya Kosha, and Anandmaya Kosha. So in a nutshell, this was the area of health in which I have presented the contribution of Indian knowledge system. Now, I'm going to present the last contribution of Indian knowledge system in one area, and that area is governance and public administration. So for the sake of clarity in my presentation, I have identified 5 points, and through these points, 5 points, you'll be able to understand what's the contribution of Indian knowledge system in the field of governance and public administration. So I'd like to request any one of you to please read the slide. My friend, any one of you, please read the slide.
Do's and don'ts for a king. Arthashastra, science of logic and argumentation. Anvishiki, the Vedas, Trayi, economics. Bhartiya and governance, Dandaniti. Kautilyan state, book of 6 of Arthashastra, mentions 7 elements that make up the state: the king or Swami, the minister or Amatya, the territory or Janapat, the fortified capital or Durga, the treasury or Kosha, the army, that is Danda, and the allied Mitra. The administrative setup, king and his cabinet, palace administration, defense, treasury, revenue and law and order, civil administration. The importance of dharma in government.
Thank you. Thank you. So these are the 5 areas, I mean, through which we can understand the contribution of Indian knowledge system, particularly in the field of governance and public administration. So very clearly, our scholars and, knowledgeable persons and rishis, I mean, they defined what a king is supposed to do and what a king is not supposed to do. Then particularly, if you'll go through one book, Arthashastra, that was written by Kautilya, so he has talked about Anviksiki. So what is Anviksiki? It's related to the science of logic and argumentation. He has talked about Vedas, Trayi, he has talked about economics, he has talked about governance and Dandaniti. I mean, very clear elaboration is there. I mean, so far as Dandaniti is concerned, and so far as economics is concerned, I mean, what we are going to do, what we are supposed to do, how we should proceed. I mean, everything is well articulated. And if you talk about Kautilyan state, in fact, so Kautilyan state, Kautilya has mentioned 7 important elements of a state. Those 7 elements, first one and most important one, the Swami, that is the king himself. Of course, the minister, Amatya, the territory, Janpada, the fortified capital, capital of that country, that is Durga, Kosha, that is treasury, RB, Danda, and allies. And allies have their own importance. Even today, if you talk about G20 or G7 or BRICS and SARC, I mean, so many platforms are there. Last year, our country organized G20 summit. So what's the purpose of this? To find more and more people, to find more and more friends, to exchange the knowledge, to exchange the technology, to do the business, so that by doing the business we may improve our economy. I mean, allies have their own importance. So these 7 elements were identified by Kautilya. Then comes the administrative setup. So first layer of administration was the king and his cabinet. Second layer of administration was palace administration. Third layer was defense. Fourth one was treasury. Fifth one was revenue. Sixth one was law and order. And finally, the 7th one and last one was the civil administration. And then importance of dharma in governance. And the moment I am using the word dharma, so don't be confused with religion. Religion is a very narrow aspect of dharma. So our concept of dharma was based on karma, that is our duties. So I'm a teacher. So what is a teacher dharma? I'm a commander of the army. So what is my commander dharma? I'm a husband. So what is my husband dharma? I'm a wife, so what is my wife dharma? I mean, our dharma is based on our karma, that is based on our duties. So in a nutshell, these were the contributions of Indian knowledge system in the area of governance and public administration. So till now, I presented 6 contributions, contributions of IKS in 6 broad areas. So I started with philosophy, then I talked about mathematics, I talked about science and technology, I talked about applications of science and technology, then I talked about holistic health, and finally, I have presented governance and public administration. With this, let's come and talk about the relevance of IKS. Why we are talking about IKS, and particularly in this workshop, which is a sensitization and orientation workshop, and you all are teachers. So what is the use of talking about IKS? So what's the relevance of IKS? So through these 5 points, I'm quite sure you will be able to understand. So I would like to request any one of you to please read the slide. Relevance of IKS. Please read it.
Knowing and preserving the ancestral knowledge, transmitting it to other generations, creating a knowledge society, ensuring a holistic and multidisciplinary education, promoting inclusive learning by recognizing and validating the diverse knowledge system.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. So this is one thing, we want to preserve the culture, the knowledge, and we want to transmit. Now, these 3 things are related. You can't preserve unless and until you know, and you can't transmit unless and until you preserve. So first relevance of IKS is this, the ancestral knowledge which has come to us through generations. So definitely there's a huge contribution. So first we will know. That's why we are talking about Indian knowledge system. So first we will know, then we will preserve, and then we will transmit it to other generations. And since we all are teachers, so it's very easy for us to transmit from one generation to another through our students. So these are the 2 relevances. Then comes creating a knowledge society. So which society is a knowledge society, my friends? What's your opinion? My friends, I'm asking, which society is a knowledge society?
So where innovations and discoveries takes place.
Innovations and discoveries take place. This is one aspect. Anything else?
Where the peoples are educated, sir.
Yeah, educated. This is another aspect. Yes. Anything else? One more aspect is there. That is, people by and large have the access to the sources of knowledge. So if these 3 things are there, definitely we say that society is a knowledge society. And I'm quite sure Indian knowledge system can help us in creating a knowledge society. Then comes ensuring a holistic and multidisciplinary education. And finally, promoting inclusive learning by recognizing and validating the diverse sources of knowledge. But then comes the role of IKS. And again, for the sake of clarity in my presentation, I have just identified 4 important roles of Indian knowledge system, which is there before you on the slide. So I would like to request any one of you to please read the slide.
In providing a sense of identity to the members of the society, in shaping the culture of the society, in utilizing received wisdom to march on the highway of innovation and new knowledge creation, in transforming knowledge into economic value.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. So if you see various societies, I mean, French people, Japanese people, even up to certain extent, Chinese people, they have some sense of identity. I mean, what their ancestors had done, and what particularly the contributions their ancestors have given to the world, to the society. They're very proud of that. So we in India, I mean, lot of diversity exists. I mean, we are divided on the basis of religion, on the basis of culture, on the basis of language, on the basis of region. But there is one commonality, one common thing among all of us, that we all are Indians. So I'm quite sure, more and more we will discuss about IKS, about our contributions to the world. So definitely more and more sense of identity will be created among the members of the society. So this is one role of IKS. Then definitely IKS has a potential to shape the culture of the society. Third point, no knowledge, no new knowledge is possible without the old knowledge. You can't go ahead on the path of innovation by simply neglecting the older knowledge. So the wisdom that you have got through generations, you will utilize that wisdom to march on the highway of innovation and new knowledge creation. So in a nutshell, I mean, no new knowledge creation is possible in vacuum. Somehow you have to utilize your old knowledge, your ancient knowledge. So this is the third role of IKS. And finally, in transforming knowledge into economic value. So nowadays it is said knowledge and economy, they both are related. More and more knowledge you have, that will be converted into economy, or vice versa. If you have a good economy, somehow, I mean, you will facilitate, knowledge creation, and you will facilitate production of knowledge and dissemination of knowledge. So, knowledge and economy, they both are related. So since IKS has too much knowledge, so definitely it might be converted into economy. So finally, I'm coming to the last slide of my presentation, and I'm talking about advantages of IKS. And for the sake of clarity in my presentation, I have identified 5 advantages which are mentioned on the slide. So I would like to request any one of you to please read the slide.
In providing enriched learning experiences to the student, in promoting cultural understanding, in bridging the gap between the traditional wisdom and modern knowledge, in inculcating the problem-solving ability among the students, in bringing knowledge exchanges with other civilizations.
Right. Thank you, ma'am. So these are the 5. I mean, there might be some more advantages as well, but I think these 5 are very important. So we will be able to give enriched learning experiences to the students. So I talked about rainwater harvesting system. So how today's system and how ancient people did this rainwater harvesting, how they preserve the crops, how they deal with the situation of drought, with the situation of flood. I mean, how they dealt with the water crisis and other issues. So it might be very enriching learning experience to the students. Simultaneous contrast they will have. I mean, what we are going today, how we are going to preserve the environment, how we are going to take care of the environment, sustainability and all those things, and how those people they did. I mean, through that, we will be able to provide enriched learning experiences to the students, and definitely will be able to promote cultural understanding as well. Then comes another point, third point particularly. There is a gap between traditional wisdom and modern knowledge. So this gap is not advisable. This gap is not required. So through Indian knowledge system, definitely will be able to bridge the gap that exists between traditional wisdom and modern knowledge. Then definitely through Indian knowledge system will be able to inculcate the problem solving ability among our students, and will be able to bring knowledge exchanges with other civilization, as I mentioned earlier. So Mesopotamian civilization, Chinese civilization, Egyptian civilization, Arabian civilization, Roman and Greek civilization, these are the oldest civilizations of the world. So we have some peculiarity. They also had some peculiarity. So through that, we'll be able to, the moment we will be able to know about Indian knowledge system, definitely it will help in bringing the knowledge exchange with the other civilization. So that's all, and thank you very much, my friends. Thank you, my friends, for listening to me. So I think since last, it is 6:45 by my watch, and since last 70 minutes I'm continuously speaking. So now I would like to put an end to my lecture, and definitely it's over to you. If you want to ask some questions, or if you want to share something with me, definitely you can. So my friends, it's over to you.
Sir, can you suggest a book which include all the discoveries that our ancestors had made?
Yeah.
And the world in different fields.
Sure. There's very one good book. I think I'm at this juncture of time, I am at my home, and I think that book I have kept in the department. So I'm sorry. In fact, at this juncture of time, if it would have been with me, I would have shown you the book through the camera, but it is not with me. But definitely I will send the author's name and publication. It has been published by PHI, Apprentice Hall of India Limited. It's a very good book, in fact. And whatever the input I have presented before you people, most of that, the input is from that book. It's very good. It's very lucid. And it has particularly touched this, our contributions in various fields. Deepak sir?
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I need to.
Sure. Hopefully, I will send it tomorrow, right?
Okay, okay, sir.
Yes, Deepak. Yes. Any other question, if you want to ask? My friends? No questions? Okay. So Pakarshi ma'am, Sadaf Jafri ma'am, Devashish sir.
Sir, I don't have any question, but I do have some observations, sir. I belong to the area where a considerable number of people belonging to different tribes live here. So what I have seen that their knowledge, this community, they have a very rich knowledge in terms of medicine. I'm talking about herbal medicine. But because these knowledge are these kind of informations, they are not written. Day by day, these knowledge are disappearing from the entire Indian knowledge system. I believe that government should do something to preserve this knowledge. I think.
In fact, the government has taken an initiative. In fact, they have developed a website under the Ministry of Education. And if you know that there is some contribution from some people or some communities, and particularly Indian knowledge system, so you can, put your claim on that, and government is providing some financial assistance as well to preserve the knowledge. Government is taking its initiative, definitely. So we should also come forward and we should try to preserve that knowledge. Right, Pakarshi ma'am?
Yes, sir, of course.
Okay. So, anything else?
Namaskar, sir.
Yes, Devashish sir. Yes, namaskar. Please go ahead.
One suggestion, sir, regarding books. Some participants also requested. One book is published in Hindi, Prachin Bharat Mein Rasayan Ki Vikas, published by INSA.
Okay.
Indian National Congress.
Yes.
And another one is Bharat Ke Pranacharya.
Okay. Very good.
These two are very excellent books and very nice compilation of.
Yeah, particularly the presentation is in Hindi, right, Devashish sir?
Yes, sir, in Hindi.
So definitely those people who are comfortable in Hindi, definitely they can go through this book. And one book that I am talking particularly, it is in English. Again, it's a very good book, in fact. So I will share it tomorrow. I will give it to Director sir, definitely, and he will forward. Right, my friends? Okay. So anything else? No? Yes, Director sir.
Yes, I was looking for someone else. If anybody speaks, then okay, fine. Otherwise, we can wind up. No issue. It is already.
In fact, my friend, I thought that they will be having so many questions.
Okay.
So I finished 15 minutes before, but it seems they are tired. They don't have questions. So,
sir, can I ask one more question, sir?
Yeah, sure, Deepak sir. Sure.
Sir, most of the people in Kerala doesn't believe these things, even though there are real examples with us, such as the Ashoka pillar, etc., of the metallurgical work done by our ancestors. But most of the surgery done introduced by Susruta, there are no proof for that. That's I think there may be some return Taliola, something like that.
Yeah.
Is there any proof regarding these things, sir?
Sure. Whatever I'm saying, whatever I have presented before you people, So it's not in vacuum. Definitely, there are some sound basis for that. There are evidences for that. In fact, what has happened, you know, our Indian knowledge system is very old. And at that time, definitely, writing was not as prevalent as the verbal knowledge, as the oral knowledge. And whatever the knowledge we have, I mean, by and large, it has reached to us through, you know, generation by generation. So, but still nowadays, you know, people in different part of the country, our country, as well as a different part of the world, they are now going to compile. And since particularly you have talked about Kerala, you know, Kerala people have one very important contribution, particularly in the field of mathematics. So there is one area.
Ayurveda also, sir.
Pardon? Pardon?
Ayurveda
Yeah,
also.
of course, Ayurveda. Ayurveda, the whole world knows. But you see another area. So, you know, Nambudiri School of Mathematics, my friend.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. So these Nambudiri people are from Kerala, na? Do you agree with me, Deepak sir?
Yes.
And they have developed a lot of knowledge, particularly in the field of calculus. So definitely that is not my area, but some learned professor of mathematics at some conference, he told me that though so many principles of calculus and all those things are discussed by Newton, and we consider Newton as the father of calculus, but these Nambudiri people of Kerala, in fact, they also have contributed a lot in the field of calculus. And that professor was saying that one of his students is doing research on that. So, I mean, people are collecting the evidence, people are doing work hard. Definitely, since it's very old, so things are difficult to collect the evidences. Right, Deepak sir?
Sir, yes.
Okay, my friend.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, Devashish sir.
So just one clarification regarding the question of Deepak sir.
Yeah.
Sushruta Samhita is very well written.
Yes.
And translated into various languages, including English and other regional languages also. It is one of the syllabus part in BA, MS and MS in Ayurveda. And I am from Ayurveda background, sir. So if anyone interested, it could be available in bookstore also.
Right, Deepak sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. Okay.
Yes, okay. So thank you very much, my friends. It was a very good and comprehensive discussion. You all people were attentive and you cooperated with me. So thank you very much. So Director Saab, it's over to you. Yes, sir.
So we can conclude here. I think
sure.
Participants also put a lot of questions and all. You answered well. So, it was very nice presentations, and there's no need of appreciating your presentations because you have been so.
Yes.
This program was very grand success, and I express my heartfelt thanks and gratitude to you once again engaging all the participants here, and for the participants as well, those who are engaged with the questions and also responding to Professor Sajid sir. From the very beginning, he has been making all the participants that they are there attending, reading and all. So it was a new technique also how to engage in online meeting, because we know many of them used to on their mobile and they used to be offline. So and by this technique, I think I also learned how to make the participant their presence. Thanks for this technique. So once again, I thank all the participants and also Professor Sajid Jamal sir for this and also for the opportunity for this collaborative program. Thank you all.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you.
So
Thank you,
sir.
Thank you, sir.
The last program.